Let us go back to the sawtooth inventory cycle. We start out with an order quantity Q and deplete it over time. We need to make sure that a replenishment order will arrive just as we fully deplete the current inventory. Given a certain lead time that is associated with our ordering process, we have to place the order ahead of when we actually need it. Thus, as soon as our inventory reaches a level that is just sufficient to satisfy our demand during the lead time, we need to place the next order. We call this inventory level as the reorder point R. Once we place our order, the next shipment arrives just as we fully deplete our previous order. Then we start the cycle over. Of course, we are assuming here that there is no uncertainty in either our demand or supply patterns. Given such assumptions, the reorder point R is equal to the demand during the lead time. What if there is some uncertainty in our demand pattern, and we consume the items faster than we anticipated? If the uncertainty occurs before we reach the reorder point, that just means we will reach the reorder point quicker and place the next order sooner. However, any uncertainty that occurs after the reorder point has passed, that is, during the lead time, leaves us with no room to maneuver. In that case, we will run out before the next shipment arrives. To avoid running out, we will need to place our orders suitably in advance. In other words, we will need to increase our reorder point. The amount by which we increase our reorder point corresponds to the safety stock inventory necessary to accommodate the uncertainty. Notice that we are mainly concerned with the uncertainty during our lead time. Likewise, what if there is some uncertainty in our supply pattern and the next shipment is delayed? Once again, we will run out before the next shipment arrives. To avoid running out, we will need to increase our reorder point. Once we have set the reorder point for a particular item, we need a mechanism that will notify us that our inventory level has dropped to the reorder point. One way to do that is to use a continuous review system. With a continuous review system, we constantly monitor the inventory level of the item. Every time a unit is withdrawn from inventory, the inventory level is updated in our records. As soon as our records show that the inventory level has dropped to the reorder point, the next order is placed. Consider what this system entails. We need to watch every single withdrawal from inventory and record it. That means we need a mechanism whereby users must sign out the items, with the information somehow flowing into our records. We probably need to put somebody in charge of keeping track of the inventory. We might even need to keep the inventory under lock and key so that things don't just disappear. Sounds like a lot of bureaucratic procedure, doesn't it? But without that, our inventory records will not be accurate and reorders will not be placed on time. An alternative method is to use a periodic review system. With this system, rather than monitoring the inventory level continuously, we pick a convenient time every period. Let us say I have some free time available every Friday afternoon. So every Friday afternoon, I walk into my stationery room to look at what to reorder for the following week. I glance at a box of clips. Here is the actual consumption pattern of the clips that has taken place over the week. However, I am not aware of the details. I'm only checking the inventory level at this moment. I compare the quantity of clips currently available against a target level, such as the top of the box. I find that the box is depleted by a quantity Q1. I place an order for Q1 clips on Friday evening, which I expect will arrive by Monday morning. During this lead time, my consumption of clips continues. On Monday morning, the order of Q1 clips arrives. Likewise, I continue using clips over the following week also, without constantly monitoring the inventory level. Once again, on Friday afternoon, I look into the number of clips available. I realize that we've dropped quite low, but there's nothing much I can do except place an order for Q2 clips and wait for the replenishment to arrive on Monday morning. During the lead time, we almost hit zero. It's a nail biter, but we make it. The following week, we follow the same procedure. This week, we don't consume too many clips, so on Friday, I place an order for Q3 clips. Once again, the replenishment arrives on Monday morning. As we can see from this example, we are only reviewing the inventory level for clips periodically, that is every Friday afternoon. Given that we are not constantly monitoring the inventory level, we have a higher level of uncertainty with this system. With the continuous review system, the uncertainty occurred only after we had dropped below the reorder point. In other words, the uncertainty was limited to the lead time. At all other times, we knew exactly how much inventory we had on hand and had ample time to place a reorder. With the periodic review system, however, the uncertainty extends to a much longer interval. Once we place the order on Friday evening, our uncertainty continues until we look at the inventory again the following Friday. Even at that time, we might find out that we are running low, so our uncertainty continues until the following Monday morning. Given this longer period of uncertainty, the periodic review system requires a much greater amount of safety stock than the continuous review system. Comparing the continuous versus periodic review systems, we see that the continuous review system is more cumbersome, while the periodic review system is more convenient to administer. However, the periodic review system involves greater uncertainty and therefore requires much larger safety stocks. We also lack much information on the actual consumption pattern of the items, which precludes any detailed analysis. With the continuous review system, we have more precise information on usage patterns. We also need much smaller safety stocks. Further, since we are ordering the same quantity each time, we can take advantage of economic order quantities or avail of quantity discounts. With the periodic review system, on the other hand, we might be able to combine orders for multiple items. For example, along with our order for clips every Friday afternoon, we can combine our orders for pens, staples, paper, printer toner, and other stationery items. In general, the continuous review system is better suited for important, big-ticket items. Such items are worth monitoring continuously, and we might like to track each item's usage. As well, these items typically represent important items in our process, and we would like to minimize the uncertainty related to the availability of these items. Finally, given the cost of these items, we do not want to hold unnecessarily large inventories in terms of safety stocks. On the other hand, the periodic review system is better suited for smaller, nuts and bolts kind of items. Such items are not worth extensive administrative costs. Given the lower cost, we might prefer to hold a large quantity of safety stock rather than put in a cumbersome system to track each item used. In many situations, we might be able to implement a visual inventory system to achieve the benefits of a continuous review system, along with the convenience of a periodic review system, even for small ticket items. For many items, we don't really need to know the exact inventory level at every point in time. All we need to know is when our inventory drops to the reorder point so that we don't risk running out. Even without a continuous review system, we might be able to use other cues to alert us when the reorder point is reached. That way, we can minimize the uncertainty as well as the safety stocks. Consider a single bin system. Let us say I keep all my clips in a box. Close to the bottom of the box, I draw a line that represents the reorder point. As the quantity in the box drops to the reorder point, the line becomes visible. So I know it's time to place a new order. But what if I'm not the only one using the clips, and none of the other clip users bothers to place an order or even inform me? In that case, we can consider a two-bin system. Here, I keep the clips in two boxes. One big box that is available for everyone to use, and one small box that I keep locked up. When the big box runs out, and I need to dip into the small box, I know it's time to place a new order. Such visual systems can be used in a wide range of situations. Suppose we don't want to run out of printer paper in our office, but don't want to bother monitoring every single ream of paper. Yet we want to minimize the safety stock. How about we put a yellow sticky note on the second last ream of paper? The person who picks up that ream is responsible to notify whoever orders paper. If we don't trust everyone to follow this procedure, we can stash away a couple of reams that will be released only after a reorder has been placed. Likewise, let's say the fuel gauge in my car has gone dead. I'm told that it will cost a few $100s to repair the gauge. Are you serious? I hardly ever looked at my fuel gauge even when it was working. For that kind of money, I don't really want to know how much gas I have in my tank every second of the day. That's information overload. Instead, I decide to use my operations management knowledge to my advantage. I only need to know when I'm running low and need to fill up. Even if just the empty light works, my job is accomplished. I now have a single bin system. But what if the empty light doesn't work? No problem. Then I buy myself a 5-gallon gas tank and put it in the trunk. I now have a two-bin system. If my car gives me about 20 miles per gallon, I know I can drive 100 miles before I am really in trouble.